So today's cook is pulled pork cooked specifically in the slow cooker. We're going to be cooking it for most of the day. It's foolproof. The slow cooker, such a cheap invention, but creates fantastic results. So that's pulled pork in the slow cooker. Once it's done, loads of things you can do with it. I'm just going to be making a cheeky little sandwich, which I hope you enjoy. So let's cook. Okay, good people of the world, this is the shopping list for the pulled pork, which we are going to lovingly cook in the slow cooker. So what you'll notice right off the bat is there's no barbecue sauce. We're not using any shop bought sauce because we don't need it. The ingredients we've got here will create the most amazing pulled pork. So the piece of pork that I'm using is a pork shoulder. This cooks down really, really well over a long time. In the slow cooker, we're going to be sitting it upon some carrots, okay? So any root vegetable, whatever floats your boat. We're going to be creating a really cool rub out of brown sugar, smoked paprika, ground cumin, garlic, mustard powder, salt and pepper, and then we're going to be using some pineapple juice, okay? Now you could use any liquid you like, stock, Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, whatever is your preferred, but something that's really, really sweet just adds so much to this. So I recommend pineapple juice. Okay, now if your pork has skin, you're going to want to get that off of the meat because it's no good. Okay, so as you can see, I'd already kind of done that before. I'm not using the right implement here. I'm just using my good old kitchen knife. And to be fair, it does the job. So, there you go. But as you can see, that skin, that is not going to render down in no shape or form. So we need to get it off, right? Once you've done that, run your fingers all over the piece of pork to see whether there's any, bits of bone or gristle or anything hard that may be left behind, and then go around and cut it all off, and also slice off all of the large pieces of fat. Now if there's tiny little slivers, that's fine, but if there's any big chunks, the fat is not going to render down in the slow cooker. Some of it will, but when you've got a big thick chunk, it's just better off getting rid of it, okay? Doesn't really need it in the slow cooker. Now, once you've done that, you want to get your knife and you want to slice through all over the shop, really go to town, really kind of semi-destroy this thing. It doesn't really matter because, as I say, this is going to render down in the slow cooker, right? But what we want as much flavor to get into every nook and cranny of this piece of meat. So turn it around, slice it up, make as many indentations as you can. All right, because this is the rub. Okay, so we've got 3 spoons of brown sugar, then we've got 1 of mustard powder. Loving mustard powder in this year. Then we've got the ground cumin. It's barbecue sauce, so there's a couple of key ingredients there. We've got the garlic powder. Then we've got a couple of spoonfuls of paprika. Now you could go for chili powder here as well if you prefer. I'm not the biggest fan of chili powder, but if that does float your boat and you want that bit of heat, go to town on the chili powder. This is where you do it. Salt and pepper, my preference instead of chili powder is just the subtle pepperiness of pepper, and I would put as much as I possibly can. So you can see 20 grams of that probably. Then you get your little whisk and just mix it up so it mixes really thoroughly, so when this goes onto the meat, it's not going to be, one flavor in one section. So that's what it's going to look like at the end. Then you're going to go back to your meat, and now this is the important. This is where you need to spend a little bit of time, because you want this piece of meat completely coated in that rub, and you will really roll it around, rub it, get handfuls of the rub and put it in the gaps so it is completely covered. You can see that there's a really thick covering of that, because this is where you're going to get your flavor, and this is going to create that barbecue sauce, because as I said, we are not using a shop bought sauce. We're getting all of the flavor from our rub, and trust me, this works better than any other method. So just make sure that you rub it all the way through into those ends. And then it's time for the cooking. This is the easy process. So get your slow cooker. I've just got a small little slow cooker. It costs absolutely nothing. It feels like it costs less than the materials to make it. But put your carrots in there so they've got a base, and then squeeze in your pork. Now, obviously, it will contract slightly. And then you want to put in your liquid. Now, as I say, I've got some pineapple juice for that real intense sweetness. What you want to do is you don't want to fill the whole vessel up. You want to, obviously, the pineapple juice needs to cover the carrots and probably about 1/3 to 1/2 of the meat. Okay, 1/3 to 1/2, because everything, well, the carrots will break down slightly, the meat will break down slightly. So you don't want it to be overflow. You don't want to be boiling this. You do not want to be boiling it. But once you've done that, put on the lid, put it on full power, and essentially we're going to come back in approximately 10 hours, okay? Because you really want it to work all day long. So you can see, it's the room is darker now. The room is darker, and we're now going to try and get this from the slow cooker to our bowl, and you're going to see how tender it is. Look at that, literally falling apart before I even get a chance to try and break it up. It's crazy how tender, how soft it is. But you can see this is so well cooked. As I say, approximately 10 hours. Now you can cook it for longer. I wouldn't really recommend cooking it for any shorter time, because we want that juice to get into that meat and for it to be succulent, because these pulled pork sandwiches are going to be incredible. Now, as I said, there's no sauce. So what you can do is you can put the sauce back in on the hob and just reduce it slightly to make it a little bit thicker. You don't have to. Then we go back to the pork and we'll get 2 forks, and we are just going to shred it, as you would with any pulled pork. Once you've fully shredded it, you want to avoid any big lumps, but make sure it's fully shredded. Then you're going to get that sauce that you've reduced slightly and just pour that back in. So this is all the pineapple juice with all of that rub that we put onto the pork at the start. That's perfect. Just mix it around until it's lovely and coated. It's warmed through once again, and we are ready for serving. So as you can see, we've got a nice brioche bun here for a pulled pork sandwich. Looks absolutely incredible, lad. So let's get started. Thanks for joining me back for the taste test. We're here with the pulled pork. I've dished it up into a nice little brioche bun. I think I have actually overloaded it for the thumbnail, but it's unapologetically gonna be messy. Okay, so let's have a little taste. Oh, I managed to actually squeeze it all the way down, so I might be able to get some of this in. Looks really moist. This is so good. My twist where I don't actually add any barbecue sauce. So a lot of people, once they've made their pulled pork, they will pour jars or bottles of pre-made barbecue sauce into this. I don't think it needs it. The rub has so much flavour. It comes through, and that pineapple gives amazing sweetness to give it, the incredible moistness of the sandwich. So look at that. That's what we've got. Are we focused in? Looking good, looking great. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, give it a go yourself and let me know how you get on in the comments below. And if you know, you know. So like, subscribe, all that good stuff. See you in the next video real soon. Cheers.